I'm Ron Warren, and this is Super Bulky. So this month we have a special event going on. We're starting our first crochet along of the year here at the Twisted Skein, and we're going to be putting out information about the crochet along and technique videos here on Super Bulky. So today we're not in our little Super Bulky studio. You are joining us in the Twisted Skein classroom. So welcome in. What we'll be working on is what I'm wearing here now. This is our Möbius linen stitch crocheted cowl. I'm actually going to take it off because I'm sweltering. So this is a Möbius strip cowl crocheted in the round with a half twist in it, which means that you put your starting chain here in the middle and everything works out from the edges, and there's only one edge because we put this sort of clever half twist in it. It's a Möbius strip. And this crochet along will be perfectly modular. You'll be able to make a cowl with the Möbius twist in it in any gauge with any yarn, and we'll be covering different techniques to get different effects in your cowl. So the crochet along officially starts on January 25th here at the Twisted Skein. We'll be having, open crochet time for people to come in and work on their cowls together. And we'll also be putting the pattern live on Ravelry on that day, so you can download it and work on it from wherever you are. And we'll have videos here on Super Bulky explaining the techniques. But right now, in this introductory video, I'd like to show you some of the different techniques we'll be covering in the crochet along itself. So this cowl I'm holding is worked up at a fingering weight yarn. This is Merino Cloud by Art Yarns, and it's a luxurious cashmere merino blend. It's absolutely beautiful. It makes a sort of classy accessory. And this is worked up with a technique we call stacked circles. So the stripes are all the same width, they end in the same place with a clever little join to make the crocheted linen stitch nice and even. Now, some people know crocheted linen stitch by other names. Sometimes it's called crochet moss stitch. Sometimes it's called granite stitch. I tend to call it linen stitch because of its similarity to knitted linen stitch. They look quite similar, so I consider them kind of cousins. So I call this crochet linen stitch. But moss stitch, granite stitch, this is the stitch. Okay, so we have a cowl that you can work in 2 or more colors with nice even stripes of a width that you choose, and makes a nice sort of classy accessory. Here we have something that is less of a classy accessory and more of a really bold statement piece. So this piece, wow, is a super bulky piece worked up in Stitch Together Studios Stitch Fatty, 7 skeins and a sort of gradient. And it's something. I really like this one. I mean, clearly, super bulky is what I do. And this is knit 7 skeins in a kind of gradient, and the technique we've used in this one we're calling smooth circles, because something like a super bulky yarn has very little yardage per 100 grams, and with something like hand dyed like this, you want to use up every yard as possible. So when we work the cowl with smooth circles, we work for as long as we want to, and we end the yarn wherever we want to, and just sort of smooth out the change so the new yarn can come in without making a jog or like a sudden blip from color change to color change anywhere in the cowl. So this is also a good technique if you want to make your Möbius linen stitch cowl a stash buster. Just use up scraps or little pieces, and you can use up as much as you have and then smooth it out and join the next one without it looking scrappy. It'll look more stripy because we disguise where those color changes go. So that's the second technique that we'll be looking at. And finally, for the sort of vanilla version, this is a plain one yarn. It is one yarn from start to finish. It's one of these dyed-in-the-wool stripy yarns. This is Entropy DK by Feederbrook Farms. And we've just started in the center and worked until the ball was done. This is a DK weight yarn. This is 1 skein. It makes a small close to the neck accessory, just a little cowl. And this technique is also really good for if you just have a skein you want to use up, or if you've got something like these sort of popular craft store cakes that have the color changes in them. This is Cupcake by Lion Brand. And so I think I'll be playing with this just to see the effect that it gets, because I know a lot of people are very, very fond of yarns like these. So if you have a yarn that stripes like this, or one of these cake yarns, the plain version will actually do you a lot of good, because you just start and then go until the yarn is gone, which is pretty cool. So those are the techniques we'll be covering over the course of the crochet along. We'll have videos here on Super Bulky explaining the techniques. They'll be described in the pattern, which I said will go live on Ravelry on January 25th. There's an introductory document up already, which I'll post a link to. And when the time comes and the pattern goes completely live, that link will take you to the full pattern. And if you're here in Bakersfield, you can drop in starting on January 25th, and then the 3 Saturdays, and we'll be working on the cowl here, and we'll have crocheters in, crocheting away in our first crochet along of the year, and our very first crochet along or craft along of any kind here on Super Bulky. So thank you very much for checking us out. I hope that you'll check out the pattern and maybe crochet it along with us, which will be cool. So enjoy, check out the pattern, and then stay tuned for more information about our Möbius linen stitch crochet along.